Mr. Kennedy, good to see you again. Thanks for your work on this. You have been one that has spoken out often on vaccine issues and to be able to provide clarity in this area. And so appreciate your engagement on this so much lately. I want to talk to you about a little bit about pharmacy benefit managers. This has been an issue that we've talked about before, you and I, and that we talk about often around this dais. We have now passed a piece of legislation that delinks the compensation between the price for pharmacy benefit managers and the price of the drug, which I think is exceptionally helpful to be able to work towards the consumer. The Any Willing Pharmacy, which PBMs have been fighting to destroy, are independent pharmacies around my state and around the country. We're losing more than one pharmacy a day now around the country, often because of what PBMs are actually doing to them in the compensation structure and the way they do the scoring on this. So I appreciate that. That law has now been passed. Y'all are in the process of implementing that. We want to continue to be able to work with your team on the implementation. Any questions that your team may have or that any way that we can actually help in the process, we want to be able to stay engaged on this because this has been a passion area for us for quite a while, and I know it's been a real interest for you as well. Senator Maggie Hassan and I, we have a piece of legislation that takes another step on this, dealing with the pharmacy benefit managers, and that is this issue of tiering that has been out there. Now, your team has put out a clear statement to say there's an expectation that when a drug is released in the biosimilar or the generic level, it's actually put on that tier to be sold. But you and I both know that's not happening. You have said it. We're trying to make it clear in law as well to be able to give you the reinforcements that you need on that to be able to say when a generic or biosimilar is put out there, it needs to be put on that lower tier cost and not put up on the more expensive brand cost, because that will ultimately drive the generic out of business. The brands know that. We want to be able to push back against that. So I would ask only for your help and your team's help on technical assistance to make sure that we get this language right so that whenever we can get this passed on the tiering issue, we can actually get that enforced as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and thank you, Senator Lankford, for your leadership on this issue. It's been a long time coming. It's a bipartisan issue. Everybody knows the problem. I think the biggest fix, as you pointed out, was delinking the compensation to the PBMs from the list price of the pharmaceutical, which created the perverse incentive of having them choose. They're supposed to be looking out for our interests, but the highest cost pharmaceutical would net them the most profits, so they were giving us a higher cost rather than lower cost. There's a couple of the PBMs that have now, well, Sigma, David Cordani has, I think, taken the lead in expanding transparency, so the industry has a template for doing this, but we need to keep working on this to make sure that they're actually, to the extent they're working in the system, that they're doing what they were meant to do, which is to lower costs for consumers rather than raise it.
Yeah, that's our target as well. I've told the PBM companies, hey, I'm not opposed to your company. I'm just opposed to you trying to shut down my independent pharmacies and raising the prices of consumers. That's the biggest issue that's out there on that. We want to get lower price and greater access on this, not less and less on it. I want to switch to a subject you and I have not spent a lot of time talking about, but is continuing to be able to rise, and that's the issue of assisted suicide. We now have 3 states, California, Colorado, and Vermont, that disability groups are filing charges against some of the assisted suicide laws because it seems to target those with disabilities. And the Americans with Disability Act, passed in 1990, that act has worked to be able to protect those with disabilities, not incentivize them to take their own life. And so this is an ongoing conversation on this. And I think my question for you today is HHS engaging? Some of these lawsuits are out there among states right now, and I know you're not engaging in the lawsuits. What is HHS doing to be able to protect those with disabilities that may be targeted by these assisted suicide laws?
I mean, to me, I think those laws are abhorrent. And we see in Canada today, I think it's the #1 cause of death is assisted suicide. And as you say, it targets people with disabilities and people who are struggling in their lives. And I don't think we can be a moral society. We can't be a moral authority around the globe if that becomes institutionalized throughout our society. So I'm happy to work with you in whatever way we can.
Be great. Love to have the help on that. We've now seen a rise of people with eating disorders that are giving access to assisted suicide, and this is just wrong in a multitude of ways. One quick statement, we'll follow up on this in writing on it. Oklahoma is still pursuing the Title $10 that the Biden administration took away from my state of Oklahoma because we would not promote abortion in the state. So they removed Title X funding from us. It's about $9 million on that. We'll follow up with your team on that one as well, but we're still trying to be able to get access to those dollars the Biden administration tried to punish my state.
We will work with you to try to fix that, Senator Lankford.
Thank you. Senator Hassan.
Support journalism you trust. Support PBS News. Donate now, or even better, start a monthly contribution today.